G'day everyone, Gooba here with my Sandlord season tier list video. Now this tier list is based on a few factors. I have gone into the current season in here and I have checked a few different things. And then based on certain factors, I've come together with my tier list. Now, one of the factors is league start. Now, how I came to the opinion of the league start ranking, I came through here and I looked at the average level of each of the classes. So we can see the Forsaken Iris, Vigilant Breeze. The average level was 96. In Anger Rehan, average level's 95, 96. Seething Rehan, 95, 96, etc. And that is how I based the league start on. Day 2, if some classes, Zealot of War, there was 2 players that was Zealot of War. Day 2 on the Asia server, not a great league start based on that criteria. Now, another criteria that I looked at, I went to the Supreme Showdown and I went to rankings and I looked at the amount of Supreme Showdown 21 clears. Charge Moto, there was only 4, so that is a negative against Charge Moto. Forsaken Iris, there was a ton. So in that ranking, Forsaken Iris ranked higher. However, we do know that there is some nerfs coming towards Vigilant Breeze, so that was taken into consideration as well. If you have my tracking spreadsheet, you can always bring up my little cheat sheet here. As you can see, SS21 clears. This is the total amount of SS21 clears there were on the Asia server per class. Their main skill that they used in the clear here. Surprisingly, Mind Control was the top one for space-time elapse Yuga. However, caveat, the top 9 or so were just deleted characters, so I couldn't actually see what they used to clear Supreme Showdown 21. And the day 2 average for this class was 97, which is the highest average level, because we all know that Yuga 2 is a very strong starter. There has been a minus 30% movement speed debuff. However, I believe that once you get enough stuff, it won't really feel as bad as it does, but because Mind Control is the main skill that you'll use at the start, I have bumped it down a tier from S tier into A tier, I believe, just because of the main ability requires, well, just has that minus 30% movement speed debuff. So let's go through and have a look at the tier list. So Anger Rehan, I might bring this up over the side here. I'll put this here and we'll go through and look at a few things. So Anger Rehan, if you've seen the streamers play it, it is super fast. Even if Whirlwind has a 30% movement speed nerf, Anger Rehan is still going to be insanely strong. And we have a look at the rankings over here. There was 100 out of the top 100 players playing Anger Rehan in the was it Arcana? Is that the one that we just did? I don't know. Tarot cards, Arcana, yeah. Season, 100 players defeated Supreme Showdown 21, 3 stars. So insane pedigree there. Going into the next season, I couldn't see any real nerfs other than 30% movement speed to Whirlwind. Thunderspike, I couldn't see any real nerfs to as well. The only main one is movement speed, 30% on Whirlwind. However, with Blink and everything, Whirlwind is still going to be insanely fast. So Anger Rehan, S tier, well deserved. I think it's going to be insane next season as well. And yeah, enough on Angarihan. Next up, we have Lethal Flash Carino. Sorry, I've got a hair in my face or something. Lethal Flash Carino is always very strong. There was 65 people that cleared SS21 with Ice Lancers, Dot Wilt, that sort of thing. We do know that there is a new damage type with Deterioration and True Damage, so I think Lethal Flash will capitalize on that really quite nicely. And there was a high average day 2 for Lethal Flash, and without any real major nerfs, and actually a buff, because the way that Lethal Flash resets its damage, it consumes ammo, and every time you use a movement ability, it resets that. The cooldown of centralized loading has been reduced from 4 seconds to 2 seconds, so you'll be able to use that for a mobility skill. Resetting your ammo, and centralized loading has a 96% damage buff to that as well. So I think that is a nice addition to Carino. And unfortunately, the other two Carinos are Z tier because they're absolute garbage, but we'll get to that in a bit. Now, I was a little bit conflicted about Lightning Erica. So Lightning Erica is a very strong class. Numbed did get a nerf. It needed a nerf. It was massively powerful. Now, Lightning Erica campaign, from what I've seen and from what I've tested, sucks. But the speed that you can use Spiral Strike and skip the campaign, I think makes up for the lack of damage early with Thunder Spike. So I've left Lightning Erica S tier because even though I didn't enjoy the campaign, once you get to maps, she really starts to take off, and she gets quite insane. So slight class nerfs, a nerf to Thunder Spike, but I feel like she's still going to be quite insane because shock and numbed, that sort of thing in games is always stupidly powerful. Next up, we have Teddy Gemma. I think Teddy Gemma is Ice Fire Gemma. I couldn't find any nerfs to Moonstrike in here. I feel like people have said that Moonstrike has been nerfed, but I can't find it in the patch notes. So no matter what I search for, I couldn't actually find a nerf to Moonstrike, so I feel like I'm missing something here. Let me know in the comments below if it breaks this class and she doesn't deserve to be in S tier. But I couldn't find any nerfs, so she has remained in here because 100 out of 100, SS21, it's pretty reasonable. Day 2, and no nerfs to Moonstrike that I could see in the patch notes. As I said, I feel like I'm missing something, and maybe she should be A tier instead. Next up, we have Goth Mummy. Not much to say about Goth Mummy other than she is thick, and she is the new hero. So that in itself, a lot of the new mechanics in the game are based around her kit. She will do a ton of damage. She'll be massively overtuned because she is the new character. You have to buy the season pass to play Goth Mummy. So I think she will be S tier, at least for this season. Maybe next season she'll be dropped down to A tier, just like Iris 2. And yeah. Next up, we have Chain Lightning Yuga, which is also known as Illusion Yuga. 52, not a huge amount of players defeated SS21 on Yuga. However, it was with Chain Lightning from what I could see, and the average day 2 level was quite high. So that means that he really has an easy time getting into maps and grinding the T7, T8 maps and excelling through that part of the gameplay as well. On to A tier. Now, MC Yuga, I think is potentially S tier. However, because of the mind control movement speed nerf, early on you will feel it. Later on you won't feel it at all. And if you can work in some maybe Shackles of Malice or something to capitalize on deterioration damage as well, MC Yuga will probably shine pretty well there. It is a extremely strong day 1, day 2. In current season, it fell off a bit towards profound and deep space. However, if you focused on max channel stacks to capitalize on the way mind control works with stacks, then you would transition that way a little bit easier. Maybe max channel stacks will be more expensive this season, but we'll have to wait and see. I did skip over Iris 2. Iris 2 this season was extremely powerful. It was the season pass character. Of course, it was overtuned in current season. I believe Coffee said that the class is receiving a 50% damage nerf, and then Whirlwind Tango is also receiving a nerf. So the meta might shift from ultimate skill spam to advanced skill spam instead. And with the blending, maybe we can see a resurgence of the Frost Magus Gemma Iris, maybe from Iris 1. Maybe Iris 2 can capitalize on that as well. Who knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Next up, we have... where is she? Windstalker Erica. Not a huge amount of people cleared SS21 with Windstalker Erica. However, I couldn't see any nerfs to Thunder Slash. A few different classes used Thunder Slash for their SS21 clears as far as I could see. Pretty average across the board. The changes to Windstalker Erica sounded cool. I'm not really all over Erica gameplay, honestly, so I've just left her as an A tier. She may be S tier, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Next up, we have Flame Gemma. Shackles had a buff to the Defile support. That was Shackles of Malice Defile. On hit, target receives an additional 33 to 38. That has been changed to 45 to 50% curse effect. That's the only change I could see to Shackles of Malice. So I guess that's a decent buff. But I think curse effect overall was nerfed. So maybe this is just a sideways movement for Shackles of Malice. Where is it? Anyway, strong. Good day 2. A decent amount of clears, not woeful like these other classes down here. Next up, we have Boom Moto. This may be my bias. I would love to slap it in S tier, but it did receive quite substantial early game buffs. Now, the main one for Boom Moto is the 0.2 second buff that you get for... Why didn't I just search for Charge Moto? So, Fuel War with War, always attempt to trigger Core Synthetic Troop Summon skill, interval of 0.2 seconds. It is a trait skill, so that can potentially go down to probably 0.1 second if you have +5 trait skills, which is huge. One of the main drawbacks for Commander Moto for previous seasons is he only really became good when you got the activation mediums, and a 0.2 second activation medium in week 1 would set you back about 5,000 flame elementium. So you're getting that for free at level 75. So your early game mapping is going to go through the absolute atmosphere, and he will be extremely strong early on. The change for the base trait, which went from 0.02, that was moved to Heroic Sacrifice, and I'm guessing Heroic Sacrifice was the 20%. That has been moved to the base self-destruct damage. So that means that you'll be able to run through the campaign, let your minions auto-kill everything, and then when you get to a boss, just tap your hero trait and it will explode the boss instantly and you can go into the next area. So the campaign will be faster. It may be a little bit slower between, say, level 65 and 75. A little bit of grinding required, but you're unlocking the Nether Realm at that stage anyway, so it's not going to be such a huge deal getting to level 75, and then you can potentially just receive a massive spike in damage because of the 0.2 second and continue on with your day. I don't know how it's going to go further than the beginning, so potentially it will die off and be B tier towards the end. However, with the changes to, well, with the addition of blending and that sort of thing, maybe you could have a belt that had max life, max energy shield, chance to do double damage, and then put comradeship on the belt, so all those stats go to your minions as well. That's just a flat 20% to 50% damage boost to your minions' base health and base energy shield. So that can potentially be quite insane. Anyway, that's enough on Boom Moto. That's my personal A tier. I wish it could be S tier, but I don't think it's there yet. Next up, we have Seething Rihan. Again, Thunder Slash and Berserking Blade. I couldn't see any nerfs in the patch notes to those. I don't know if the TLIDB is out yet. I believe it's very soon. Really nice day 2 average. And 60 clears. That's a very strong A, potentially S tier character. Next up, we have Selena. So Selena had absolutely woeful SS21 clear. However, the day 2 average was quite good. I believe in the reveal there was that beams everywhere, cancer looking skill. I think that will work really well on Selena. So I've put Selena in A tier because it will have insane map clear, and hopefully that transitions into a higher SS21 clear with the addition to deterioration damage. And I believe the skills on Selena translate to that really well. And I believe there is a few streamers that are potentially starting Selena, so that will be interesting to see how she goes. Next up, I don't think Bing has recovered from getting absolutely gutted in his core. Everyone used to abuse his abilities to benefit from projectile speed to projectile damage, and just ignore the fact that he is meant to be throwing bombs and just apply that to every other skill. I don't think that has been reversed just yet. There was a buff to projectile speed to projectile damage. However, I think he still has to rely on bombs. So he probably won't do too much better than B tier this season until they get him back up. It's also how Boom Moto was absolutely gutted 2 seasons ago, and the way that people were clearing SS20 was to ignore that he was a Boom Moto. Anywho, next up we have Frostbitten Gemma. Frostbitten Gemma is here. Again, absolutely woeful SS21 clear. However, I think I was watching Coffee's tier list and he said that Ground Shaker was buffed, or am I imagining that? I can't remember. So I've left her down here based on SS21 performance. Potentially she could be A tier. However, I can only go off what I've seen and what I can remember, so that's where she stays. Rosa, again, pretty horrible performances. Where is she? Rosa, only 20 cleared. SS21, Ground Shaker, pretty average, basically the same as Frostbitten Gemma. There is a lot of class buffs across the board for Rosa. The circle that she summons moves with her. She doesn't have to stop, do an attack, keep going. Now it continues with her. So maybe she will be pretty good, but and her block ratio and stuff was improved, but we'll have to see. I think this is Wisdom Thea, Ring of Ice Thea, which was this one here. Heaps of changes. I don't know really anything about the class. It is a Thea. Maybe Thea can benefit from Goth Mummy being Thea 3. She may drag up that class, but realistically, it's probably not going to happen that much. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Did I do both irises? Oh yeah, they're both here. Did I mention the buffs to Friend Nemesis for Iris 1? Or did I go from Flame to Boom? The excitement probably took over. But anyway, Iris 1 looks really good this season. I can't remember if I covered that or not, so I'll just keep going. Onto the trash tier. We have Ranger Carino. Inexhaustible Barrage got a pretty big buff. It was like 50% damage buff to the main skill that was used in SS21. There was only 6 clears. I don't know if sequential ammo is good for that class, so I'm just leaving him down in Z tier. Nothing that I could see really indicated that he's going to be good next season. Zealot of War, his core kit is kind of garbage, so I don't think he's going to get really any better. There was one SS21 clear this season. There was pretty much no one playing him, and he got a minus 30% movement speed to split shot. So who knows? The damage was buffed, but minus 30% movement speed feels bad. Automoto, really horrible. Moto was gutted. Grim Fandom, Spellburst, maybe okay, but I highly doubt it this season. The changes to the auras was kind of cool. Cruelty and stuff like that are really, really sweet. However, I don't think it's going to drag Automoto out of trash tier. Lastly, we have Incarnation Thea. Again, I didn't really understand the buffs and stuff to Incarnation Thea. There was only 3 clears of SS21 this season. Pretty low average level. Might benefit again from Goth Mummy, but we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, that is my tier list for the upcoming season. Let me know in the comments below what class you're going to start. I think it's pretty obvious what class I'm going to start, even if I re-roll at the end of day 1, like I have done in the last couple of seasons. I did practice Boom Moto a bit this season. I am hopeful that I don't rage quit on my favorite class too early this season, and I can benefit from the changes to two-handers. There is that pair of gloves that boost damage. Legendaries. Where was it? Pause. Yeah, so there's this one here. Death's Touch Strength Gloves. Additional 150 to 180% two-handed weapon base damage. Weapon crit strike rating is set to 200. I guess you would have to look at your weapons crit strike rating and see how that's affected. I think tier 0 just or corroding that makes that minus 200. So if you've got plus 1000, then it's only plus 800. So it's not too bad. Crit strike rating, crit strike damage, Warden's Breastpin, eat your heart out. That would be insane. Adds physical damage to your main weapon and weapon attack speed. So that is just a buff to your big two-hander. And if you are using the 0.2 second, you'll probably be using a two-handed hammer because that is the best one for minions. And then you'll be tacking around, so the minus 30% movement speed won't really matter to you at all. It's one of, yeah, so you get a random affix and a random affix. Maybe you get the adds physical damage to the weapon and the crit strike damage or the crit strike rating. That would be pretty sweet. But anyway, that's all I've got for this video. Hopefully I'm on the money. I guess we'll have to wait and see. How long do we have to wait? A day and a half until the season comes out. I'm excited. I hope you're excited, and I will see you in the season.